The story of Mattie Foxx begins in autumn of 2012 with the formation of his third and most notable band, Follow My Lead. Based out of Donegal, Ireland, the original lineup consisted of vocalist Mattie Foxx, guitarist Robbie Thorne and Niall Friel, bassist Declan Graham, and an unknown drummer. Around this time, Mattie would begin to make a name for himself online with his first upload to YouTube, a cover of Pierce the Veil's King for a Day. Although relevant at the time, it was posted over a month after the original music video's upload, so the algorithm didn't quite pick it up. While it received some views, it didn't begin to see any real traction until the following year. A few months later, on December 1st, Follow My Lead would post their debut single, Take to the Streets. On this track, we first hear Mattie's unclean vocals on an original recording, along with guitarist Robbie Thorne's cleans. Although Take to the Streets was initially met with some pushback due to its repetitive lyrics and sonic similarities to Asking Alexandria, the track was overall well received, with one exception, the mix. Its mix was heavily criticized in the YouTube comments to the point where Robbie had to step in and clarify that while the standalone single was not produced by the band, following releases would be. Later that month, the original drummer would leave the band, but be replaced in January of 2013 by drummer William Woods. A few weeks later, after posting a cover of Bringing the Horizon's Shadow Moses, Mattie would get his first real taste of success. Uploaded on January 21st, one day before Bring Me the Horizon's music video, it would almost immediately be picked up by the algorithm and start doing well. To this day, it remains one of the most viewed vocal covers for Shadow Moses and the most viewed video on Mattie's channel. This newfound audience would swarm his King for a Day cover, as well as Take to the Streets, giving the band their first boost in viewership. Around this time, Follow My Lead would begin to record their debut EP, but by spring, problems would begin to arise within the group. After tracking vocals for only 3 out of the EP's 6 tracks, Mattie would inform his bandmates that he would be unable to finish recording vocals due to issues with his health. Instead of being removed from the band, he would step down as lead singer and move to the position of turntables, keyboard player, and backing vocalist. Ryan Dawson, a then YouTuber with a following comparable to Mattie's, would be brought on to replace him as frontman and finish the EP. On 4/20, for no particular reason, Follow My Lead would upload their first music video in support of their lead single, Crestfallen. Immediately, there was a noticeable improvement in quality. The mix was significantly cleaner, and the songwriting was stronger than what had come before. Instead of wearing their inspirations on their sleeve, the band would now explore their own sound. When compared to Take to the Streets, it is lyrically more diverse, instrumentally more dynamic, and structurally less repetitive. Crestfallen as a whole would begin to get the ball rolling for the group, the song itself pleasing their then fan base while expanding it further. That being said, it would not see any significant traction until later that year. 4 months later, on August 22nd, the band would upload their second music video for the track Sippin' 40s. This would be Ryan's only public appearance with the band. The following day, Follow My Lead's 6-song Sleepless EP would drop. Sleepless would feature 3 vocalists, with Mattie providing cleans and uncleans, Robbie providing cleans, and Ryan providing uncleans. Tracks 1 and 2 feature Mattie by himself. Tracks 3, 4, and 5 feature Robbie and Ryan. Finally, track 6 features Ryan and Mattie. The release itself was engineered by Mattie Foxx and mixed and mastered by Joël Côté-Bergevin. Sleepless as a whole was well received by fans, although shortly after it was dropped, Ryan would be removed from the band, with the group citing personal conflicts as the main reason. After they parted ways, Mattie would return to his original position as Follow My Lead's frontman, due to his improved health. A short time after Ryan's dismissal, Dan Evars, an agent based out of the US, would reach out to the band. After hearing the Sleepless EP, he offered his services to the band in hopes of one day getting the band stateside to become a touring act. They'd accept his offer, and by November, he would get them their first big break when he put them in contact with Brian Stars. At the time, YouTuber Brian Stars was known for his quirky interviews of larger scene bands and pushing smaller bands within the scene. So when Brian approached the band about potentially rehosting the Crestfallen music video, they were happy to accept. So on November 2nd, 2013, Brian would repost Crestfallen, and overnight, the band would gain a rabid fan base. The re-upload, along with Mattie's channel and Follow My Lead's YouTube and Facebook, would receive a massive amount of traction from new viewers. To capitalize on this newfound outreach, the band would move in with Mattie and his father. For the next 5 months, they would spend their time working on content, interacting with their community, and writing and recording their second EP. During this time, Follow My Lead would begin to receive a significant amount of backlash from the Irish music scene, with the majority of the criticism centering around their refusal to play live shows. While a common practice now, at the time it was unheard of for a band to focus on their internet presence over touring and paying their so-called dues. Even though each member had experience performing at live shows, baseless criticisms about their playing ability were common. They would eventually disprove their detractors after piling into William Woods' car and driving to their first show at the Pint in Dublin on March 2nd, 2014. Although the live mix was poor, the crowd didn't seem to care. They packed the venue, provided high energy, and exploded when the quintet played Crestfallen. For any band to have a turnout that large would be a success. But as Follow My Lead's first show, it was impressive. To keep the hype going, 3 weeks later, on March 21st, Follow My Lead would upload their newest music video to Brian Stars' channel, entitled Shadow Walker. Intended as the lead single for the then unannounced second EP, Shadow Walker features a more cohesive song structure than anything that had come before it. While Mattie's screams are still heard, his clean vocals are predominant throughout. With this song, the group would pivot ever so slightly from their prior musical trajectory, exploring a sonic space that is reminiscent of the Black era, Asking Alexandria. But this was well before Dennis Stoff ever joined that band. On YouTube, it would become their second best performing song, beaten out only by Crestfallen. However, the band would hit a hurdle, and issues within the group would start up once again. After recording vocals for only 2 tracks off of the planned second EP, Mattie would approach the group and explain that his health issues had returned. The remaining members would spend the next few months hoping that Mattie's health would improve, and concerned that it may not. On June 2nd, he would upload a vocal cover of My Ticket Home's Spit Not Chewed. In it, he would feature his cousin and Follow My Lead bassist Declan Graham on backing vocals. While it would receive 25% of the audience of what the original had garnered, this would be the last of Mattie's uploads to break 100,000 views. Later that summer, their manager Dan would give them the biggest news of their musical career yet, when he informed them that Fearless Records wanted to sign them for a record deal. But Fearless specifically wanted an album, not an EP. Since the second EP had been put on hold, due to Mattie's inability to perform, the band scrapped it and signed to Fearless's record label. Then, in September, when Follow My Lead revealed the then upcoming album, they slightly twisted the truth when they made the announcement.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out our ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We want to kind of do a bit of an update on what's going on with us. We've been writing a lot of music, I guess we're working on that stuff, and it might seem a little inactive lately, but we're sorry about that. We were going to do a new EP, and we had like a lot of stuff recorded, but we ended up deciding that we wanted to go record our debut album, and we've been working on that loads. And it turns out we're actually going to go record it now this autumn with big producer Fredrik Nordstrom over at Studio Fredman in Sweden, which is really cool producer that we all really love. He's worked with bands like Bring the Horizon, Architects, and yeah, it's really awesome. It's a really great opportunity, and we really look forward to it.
Yeah, we're really stoked about that, and also within the coming weeks we will be shooting a brand new music video, and we're getting some really cool photos done. So I know it's been quiet as of late, but we really are working hard and getting some new content and making sure that everything's done properly to the best standard possible, you know.
While we're over in the studio as well, we should have some new music heading your way to keep you kind of, you know, suckle on the teeth a little bit as we get out there and write the rest of the album that you'll get to hear. It sounded awesome ATM, so can't wait for you to hear it.
Yeah. Cheers for the support. We're going to make this album the best.
The best.
So for real, thanks for the support up to this point, and the ongoing support. We really appreciate it, and please be patient with things at the moment, because you know good things come to those who wait, and good things also take time. So thanks for everything so far, though. It's really awesome.
In October, they'd play their second show. Unfortunately, no footage exists of this performance. But by November, Fearless had booked them to perform at Warped Tour 2015, and Follow My Lead was flown out to Sweden to record at Studio Fredrik. 3 weeks into the recording process, everything had been tracked except for Mattie's vocals. Tensions between the band and Mattie would rise when, for a third time, in the studio, he was unable to perform or complete his vocals by the time their studio time was up. To try to alleviate the situation and finish the record, Fredrik would loan Mattie a very expensive microphone for a month so that he could finish his recordings at home. This rental would be paid for by Fearless. After the group returned home, Fearless would then, on December 11th, announce that they had signed Follow My Lead. The following day, Fearless would upload a music video for 13, the only other completed track off of the scrapped second EP. 13 would feature a new metalcore sound, with the song introducing record scratches and Mattie's rapping. Up until that point, it was the most professional sounding release yet, and fans were excited to see what the future would hold for the band. To everyone's disappointment, Mattie would ghost the band, and towards the end of December, Follow My Lead would have to approach Mattie and confront him in person to see if he would actually finish the album. By this point, Mattie lived 2 hours away from the rest of the members, so they had to make that drive, and when they finally saw him face to face, he claimed to have a very serious medical condition and blamed that as to why he would not be able to finish his recordings. Out of frustration, William Woods, the drummer, would punch the outside of Mattie's house and break his hand. He would then have to be taken away by an ambulance. From a conversation that I had with Will, in all likelihood, Mattie did not have that condition. I tried reaching out to Mattie for a comment, but he never responded. After this, Follow My Lead would be dropped from the band's Warped Tour roster and spend the next 18 months trying to get the rights back to their music for an album that would eventually be released as Spit Cake Revolt through In Vogue Records with new vocalist Danny Bochkow. Unfortunately, even with the satisfaction of having won their legal battle against Fearless, and being able to put out the album that they had been sitting on for the better part of 2 years, most of the group members were exhausted. By the end of the year, drummer Will Woods would leave the band, and shortly after, Follow My Lead would dissolve. Throughout this time, Mattie would say nothing about what had gone down with Follow My Lead, beyond announcing his departure from the band 5 months after he had left. It wasn't until late 2017 when he announced a new project. Formed in 2017, The Sunday Sadness is a dark pop band based out of France. Their original lineup consisted of Matt Cutt on bass, Jean Fine on vocals and drums, Chris Laurent on vocals and guitar, Mattie Foxx on vocals and guitar, and Matthew Kirby on vocals. In a coincidental twist of fate, Matthew Kirby had actually auditioned for the frontman position in Follow My Lead after Mattie's departure, but was narrowly beaten out by Danny Bochkow. Throughout 2017, anytime that Mattie wanted to meet with his fellow bandmates, he would have to travel 16 hours from Ireland to France. The fruits of this labor would eventually manifest in one of my favorite songs of all time, The Sunday Sadness's The Wrong Way. Released as the lead single for their then upcoming EP, The Wrong Way is a synth-heavy, dark wave pop rock track, in which Mattie entirely drops his screams in favor of just rapping. While entirely self-produced, this song has mainstream levels of production. Matthew's hooks are pleasantly earwormy, and they contrast with Mattie's rapping in a way that I would compare to a chocolate pretzel, where when one flavor becomes too much, it is then contrasted by another that evens it out, and the sum of the two become more than their parts. This piece of music is probably the best sounding song that Mattie has been a part of so far, and it's a shame because a few months later, in early 2018, Mattie would be removed from the band. According to a statement released by TSS, the main reason for this decision was the distance. However, what I've heard from a reliable contact is that the main motivating factor for Mattie's dismissal was his flakiness and general unreliability. His performance on The Wrong Way would retroactively be labeled a feature, and he hasn't really been heard much of since. In conclusion, I kind of think that Mattie Foxx was a person who kept getting in his own way when it came to his own success. And it's really unfortunate because the dude's clearly talented. Like, his music with Follow My Lead and The Sunday Sadness has been subtitled in English, Spanish, Portuguese, and who knows what else. He has a very diverse voice. He has a good ear for what's going to sound good. And I think had he stayed with either The Sunday Sadness or, especially I should say, with Follow My Lead, I think they could have been a really big act. I don't know how big they would have gotten, but just based off the fact that they were signed on to Warped Tour, they would have at least been a Warped Tour band, and that would have been huge for their career. They would have probably gotten a really big US following and been able to tour the States and just be a working touring band. And I don't know how big or how much that actually pays, but it probably would have just been more fun for them, and it would have been what they wanted at the time. It's a shame, and I really do hope that at some point he comes back to music. the main person who I had to refer to for most of this to correct the timeline and just fill in any sort of misinformation that I had in an original version of this video is William Woods, the original drummer, or the drummer for Follow My Lead. And so thanks to him, this video was able to be made. I asked him if there was any chance of Follow My Lead ever reforming and what would that kind of require. And according to him, he'd be willing to reform the group, and there's a good chance of them someday coming back together. But the main thing is that Mattie never apologized to anyone about just kind of costing them the contract and in some ways costing them their musical career. I think if Mattie ever reached out to them, they could realistically come back together based off that. But I don't know, man. I tried reaching out to him, and I mean, he didn't read it. I don't think he ever even got it, honestly. So it's not like he's ignoring me or actively ignoring me or anything like that. I just don't think he ever got it. But I do hope that someday I can talk to him and, I can hear his version of the story to some degree. I know that Will gave me a bunch of information, and I thank him for that, but I would like to give him a chance to defend himself or just at least express his thoughts with what was going on in his life throughout the entirety of what I covered in this video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that I'm supposed to tell you to do as a YouTuber. Remember to stay rad and be kind to yourself.